to the Chelsea Fans Channel. I'm joined by Charlie the Hurricane Skillen from the Mail Online, and we are still on cloud nine. Not only did I get to watch that beautiful performance against Southampton at St Mary's, I got to watch it next to this beautiful man. It was fantastic, wasn't it?
It was brilliant, mate. It was so good. I actually think we played better than we did against Man United.
It was a very complete performance against a very good opposition. Not many teams are going to go to Southampton and get 3 points, are they?
Well, they don't. I mean, there's only one other time they've lost in 2016, and it was against Chelsea.
Us. Yeah, Ivanovic, wasn't it?
Yeah. And by that time, it was a pretty poor season for us. But this time, very much not the case. It was so good. I thought it was a great atmosphere. But just the way that Chelsea move as a whole, I've never seen anything like it, where it's so blatantly the system. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Where teams haven't got a clue how to deal with it.
Yeah.
The improvement in players like Pedro and Matic and Cahill and even Courtois.
I think Gary Cahill's the one though, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
he's turned Gary Cahill from being a very average, error-prone centre half into a complete defender.
Yeah, well, I mean, all those players I just mentioned have had very, very poor last 18 months for Chelsea. Very poor, and literally since the
Arsenal game.
Since the Arsenal game, they've all been brilliant.
Yeah,
it's incredible to watch, and I just think there's such a feel-good factor around the club. And I think you're looking at players like Moses and Alonso, and are they getting in the best Chelsea sides of all time? No, I'd say certainly not. But no. the way they're working for the team and their contribution overall, it's just incredible to see.
The contribution is massive,
and that's down to the way that Conte's getting them playing.
It's a massive contribution as well, because you have to remember that this reinvention that we've currently gone through, this brilliant system that we're now playing, isn't possible without the likes of Victor Moses making that position their own. If Victor Moses didn't have it in him to play that position, we'd still probably be playing a back four.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And I think Victor Moses rightly got a lot of plaudits, and it's quite an interesting story. Obviously, he went out on loan so often, but I mean, Alonso is so crucial on that side. I mean, Ola Reina came into that position against West Ham, and a little bit harsh, I thought, because he's obviously far better on the right. So I think it was a little bit harsh to play in there. But I mean, he ended up having a reasonably poor game, and you could see a kind of.
It's hard, isn't it, to be thrown into a makeshift defence with John Terry just coming back. It's not easy.
I'm not blaming him in the slightest, and I think if we are going to have problems going forward, I think that's going to be where it is, where maybe apart from one or two changes, we've got such a set team in those positions that when you start introducing changes to it, the level drops quite considerably. And
do you know what, Charlie? Obviously, we were at West Ham together. Yeah. I love the League Cup. I wish we were still in it, and I wish that we could win it in February. Yeah. However, I'm massively doing a glass half full and spinning it here, but it could do us the world of good that we have only the league and the FA Cup hasn't even started yet. We're only in two competitions. We're going to play what at most this season now. If things go really well, we're going to play what 45 games this season.
Absolutely. Look,
48.
I mean, look, I think this season specifically. Look, don't get me wrong. The greatest seasons in our history, Chelsea have played 60, 70 games. Champions League finals.
Liverpool 7 times or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This season, having had such a disaster last season, I think this season has to all be about the league. Yeah. Another thing of it is all about the league.
We're going to do all right.
Well, I got a bit of stick after the games. I went to see. Did a fan cam with Sophie afterwards, and I was a little bit excited. I said, "We're definitely going to win the league."
I did 5 things. I did 5 things yesterday on the channel, and my point 1 was we could win the league. I think Alex Ferguson ruled us out of it. Alex Ferguson named 5 teams that could win the league, and Chelsea weren't one of them.
What?
Egg on his face.
What's he on about?
We're definitely one of the teams that can win the league. And I would actually say that Manchester United aren't, Sir Alex.
100%.
Well, they're 7 points behind us now.
Exactly. Look, it's been 2 great weekends for Chelsea, not just our performances, but the other results as well.
Yeah, Tottenham, Manchester United.
Exactly. Yeah. We're 1 point off the top. Look, we definitely can win the league, 100%. That has to be the aim. Chelsea have to go for the league title. And look, I've seen nothing since the Arsenal game that says we can't do it. There's flaws in our team, but there's flaws in all the other teams as well. We haven't conceded a goal for ages.
4 games, yeah. Well, if we're there or thereabouts come January, how do you think we're going to strengthen? I think that there's something about Rudiger. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, look, this is a story that came out last week. I mean, obviously, the Arsenal-Liverpool defeats were almost the best thing that could have happened to us early. I mean, I wasn't really thinking that coming out of the Emirates, having been stuffed 3-0. But in terms of the inquest that went on and the kind of dialogue that Conte had with Abramovich and the other hierarchy of the club, it was very much geared towards strengthening in January. Now, Antonio Rudiger is a very interesting deal because Chelsea were after him in the summer and he got a very, very bad injury which ruled him out of the Euros for Germany. He's since starting to come back for Roma and it's going to cost about 35 million. Now, Chelsea are very, very interested in him, but the performances of our back three at the minute...
Well, it means that John Terry and Kurt Zouma can't get in the team.
Well, yeah, precisely. So the other team that's really interested in him is Manchester United, who have had much bigger problems than we have over the past couple of months. So it might be that they kind of step ahead. The stuff we're hearing out of Man United is that Mourinho's pretty disappointed with Chris Smalling's performances. Obviously, they've lost Bailey as well.
Who knew?
Yeah, obviously they've lost Eric Bailey as well for quite a long time. So I think their need for him is more pressing. But Chelsea are very interested as well. Equally, the likes of Michael Keane and Ben Gibson, I know I've talked about them before, they're kind of long-term targets. Basically, Chelsea have been identifying the best young English players.
So do you think that we could actually sign him in January, somebody like Michael Keane? Burnley would be so reluctant to let him go, wouldn't he? Like
you'd have to
their Premier League survival seems a prerequisite that they keep him playing well.
I mean, I actually think Burnley will be all right anyway. I think Dyche is a great manager, and I think they've got enough about them, whereas the likes of Sunderland just clearly haven't. But At the moment. But I think it's possible. But I do think that after the last couple of games, particularly when in January we were going to have played Man City and Tottenham as well, and those games are just massive, aren't they? I think that maybe the need for strengthening might be lessened. What I would like to see, I'd like to see more cover. I don't think we've got anyone to replace Alonso on the left.
No, that's a real problem, isn't it? Because on the right, as Victor Moses made that position his own, but on the right, you feel like Azpilicueta could do a job there. Certainly at the back, going forward, less proficient than Moses.
You've got Ain possibly.
I mean, look, they're both great at doing the defensive side, but Victor Moses offers so much going forward. Yeah, it's like that moment. We actually had a conversation about it in Southampton when he cut in from the right and just pinged it with his left foot. Keeper made a good save. Yeah, but having a player at right wing back, that's a defensive position. Exactly. Who's going to go forward and do that, and is good for a goal. It's so valuable, isn't it? It's just the way. But there's nobody on the left that can do that.
There's no one on the left that can do that.
Who would it be? Worst case scenario, let's pretend Alonso picks up a suspension.
Well, I mean, clearly it's Aina, isn't it? I mean, that's who came into the team for West Ham. I mean, it was.
I'm trying to think if there's another juggle that could happen to.
I mean, Azpilicueta maybe, but I mean, then you're losing him from that position where he's played. Well, I mean, he has been incredible. Yeah. In that kind of right-sided centre half. Yeah, really. It's almost like his perfect position.
They all have across that back line.
They've been brilliant. I mean, David Luiz is
masterful in that position. Yeah, Gary Cahill looks like a complete defender.
It's been incredible to watch. So I think I'd really like to see cover there. I'd still question what we do if Hazard gets injured. Possibly even Costa.
That I would disagree. I think Costa's definitely an issue, but I do have faith in Batshuayi. I think that he deserves a chance.
Yeah,
and deserves our faith.
He certainly deserves a chance. I would not say we're overburdened with attacking talent. Should we see a couple of injuries?
Should Hazard, Hazard is obviously irreplaceable. He's the best player in the team. But if Hazard were to be injured, I can think of a fair few juggles.
Yeah. There is Willian on the other side.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a fair few options there. I think that the trickiest one is left back. Yeah. So that needs to be looked at, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, interesting enough, the two players on loan that could potentially do that job is Nathan Ake, who's not really getting a look in Bournemouth at all. Which
weird,
is
isn't it?
Well, it's bizarre.
Great for Watford.
Well, he was brilliant for Watford. What the issue is, he came into Bournemouth with a view to playing central midfield. Right. And then they signed Jack Wilshere.
Right.
So that's what's happened. I mean, he was never going to play left back at Bournemouth because Charlie Daniels has played there for a while, and he's one of their best players. It was a real odd move for him, and I was really disappointed to see him go. The other player that kind of would be perfect for that role is Kennedy.
Kennedy would be great, particularly at the going forward part of football.
From what we've heard, he's a bit sort of persona non grata at the club. Big attitude issues. From what we're hearing.
I liked him. I think he's a really good player.
On the pitch.
Do you remember when we went to Norwich last year? And he scored after about a minute.
Yeah, he was fantastic in that game. He was like a mental player that didn't really have a position.
Yeah,
he was
going running around. They couldn't live with him.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, he seems a very Conte player. But if there's
attitude issues.
He's not good enough to have attitude issues, is he? So.
No, nobody is. Right, that brings us nicely on to our Q&A. Our first question comes in from Chelsea Zola with 3 A's at the end. His question is, are John Terry's days numbered?
Well, yeah, of course they are. He's 36. Or he's going to be 36 in December. Yeah. So, of course, his days of playing for Chelsea are numbered. There was a lot of talk about his performance at West Ham, rightly, because he had a poor game. Although his debut was 18 years ago last week for Chelsea, and he's won everything there is to win in club football.
We've won it all.
We've won it all.
Good song.
Yeah.
Don't know where it came from, but good song.
I know. That started at St Mary's. I'd never heard it before. Yes, they are numbered. He's not a player for a back three where Cahill's playing. I mean, his natural position actually in that back three would be where Louise is playing.
In the middle.
Sort of bringing things out from the back, because obviously otherwise he'll get too exposed.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's always had to have a very, very good defensive left back next to him.
Yeah.
I mean,
He had
Ashley Cole for the best part of a decade, which you can't get better. And then Azpilicueta in the title-winning season as well.
Yeah.
Two wonderful examples, and then that allows him to be as good as he is. With Alonso or whoever it is bombing on further forward, that left side gets much more exposed and is a lot more important that they can play on the break.
So yes, but a huge future at the club, I think, is.
Well, look, I mean, the great pictures came out after the Southampton game where he was actually taking the warm down. Yes. So the substitutes on the pitch, the substitutes always do a little warm down while the players that actually played sort of get showered and whatever. And Terry was actually taking that with a stopwatch and stuff. So that's quite
tells
interesting.
You all you need to know.
Yeah,
I think.
And look, having John Terry around the club is going to be absolutely essential. Conte, I feel a little bit bad for Conte because he gets asked about it every week. I don't think any of these people that are asking him think that Terry should be in the team. Because, at the minute, it's working.
We haven't conceded a goal in 4 games.
It's working well enough, and I think Terry would recognise that. Look, as long as Terry is able to walk, he will always have a presence and be a crucial presence at Chelsea.
Great. Next question is from I imagine this is FFS Pedro.
I didn't know my man was on Twitter.
He says, do you think Pedro or Willian should start?
Well, going from his Twitter name, I would have thought
he thinks Willian. Yeah.
Look, it goes back to what I was saying about the improvement in certain players. Pedro, who has been basically useless since he signed, has been fantastic since we changed the system. He's been
Barcelona-esque, isn't it?
Yeah, he's been fantastic. So at the minute, there's not a single player that started the last 2 games, because obviously it's been the same line. That doesn't deserve to start the next one. So, and it's a fantastic position to be in. And the year we won the league 2 years ago was a very, very similar thing. So at the minute, I think Pedro, but
Willian can work his way back into the team. It's a great problem to have. Willian starts playing well again, puts pressure on Pedro.
In fact, I'd say Willian and Chalobah are kind of the 2 players that I'd be most comfortable just whacking in the team straight away.
Yes, I'd agree. Next question comes from @CharlieM. It's quite a good question. Essien or Kante in their prime?
I'll leave off.
Can't believe seeing those two. Can't believe
they'd be a great partnership. They'd be a great partnership. Kante was sort of more defensive than Essien. Essien would be bombing on.
As things stand, though, due to the longevity, as things stand, Essien's been at the club for 6 months. As things stand, you have to go Essien, but the night is young.
I mean, I've never seen a player come into a team and improve,
revitalise it so drastically,
things so much. When he's on form, Kante is just incredible to watch. He's like 2 players.
This is a good question as well. Great questions today, guys.
Well done, lads.
Jack Borrell wants to know who's been Chelsea's best performer so far this season. I know the answer to that.
Go on. Who are you going to say?
It's obviously, the most important player at Chelsea currently is Diego Costa. Diego Costa has been most vital.
I'm going to be really naff.
You're going to go on.
I'm going to say Antonio Conte.
That is naff. Come on, should we let him do that? Should he get away with that?
Come on. No. The way he's changed, the way he's brought that system in and improved.
I suppose it's a fair answer. I'm going to say Diego Costa.
You're also right.
But I'm going to have to give an honourable mention to about 8 players if I.
If we just name
the whole 11. Yeah.
No, you're right in terms of on the pitch. I think definitely. I just love watching Costa play. He's exactly the sort of player I love to see. But in terms of the best performer at Chelsea, I think the way that he's brought that in and raised everything up.
This is so nice. He's also upbeat, isn't it? It's so nice after last year's dreary videos. He certainly does. Guys, really, really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do us a favour. Click the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please do it already. And just one more thing before I let you go. our dear friend who helps us do all these videos. Without him, it wouldn't be possible. I'm sure some of you know him already. His name is Mansour Manawar. He's behind the camera now.
He's an absolute legend.
He's really under the weather. So he's done a wonderful thing. He can barely see, and he's kind enough to put this up, and he's going to edit it. So please wish him well. Wish him well in the comments. There's only one Mansour Manawar.
Thank God for that. Blues.
Oh man, I never hit it. Welcome to the Chelsea Fans Channel. How good are we? It's with great delight that I bring you the 5 things we've learned from this weekend's action. Number 1, I'm doing it. It's the title. We are in with a shout.